Hello again, Gym Bats. Long time no video. Sorry about that, but today I have a video for you that was requested to me a while ago on the proper way of doing a squat. And so I'm just going to walk you through how to do a squat without hurting yourself and to maximize benefit to your legs and butt. First things first, you want to have your feet planted about shoulder width apart. It's going to be roughly hip width for most of us as well. Basically, you want a straight line coming down from your hips into your knees to your ankles. You want your toes pointed forward, and your knees should be over those middle toes. Once you have your feet planted and your stance feels good, you want to bring your hands up over your head. This is a pretty basic form of the squat. We're going to cover a couple others, but this is basically the most basic form. And you're going to come on down just like you're taking a seat. Try not to let your arms fall forward. Try not to lean forward. You want to keep your back basically straight, like a straight line from your fingertips all the way straight down to your hips. So you sink down like you're taking a seat and come back up. And again, this I'm sure goes without saying to anyone who has any kind of interest in fitness, has done any kind of exercising on their own ever, but make sure your knees do not come out past your toes. That's a really good way to hurt yourself. I'm going to show you that from the side as well. And I've very specifically not worn a shirt today because I think it's important for people with bigger bodies to see what that alignment looks like when you've got a tummy and a butt. And I didn't want any of that obscured by my shirt, so yay belly. Alright, so again, you're going to adopt that same stance. Feet shoulder width apart, toes pointing forward, knees over those middle toes. Arms are going to come up, and you're just going to sink down like you're taking a seat. And back up. Now, what I don't want to see when you're doing this, let me back up a little bit so you can see my knees a little better. Let me rearrange the camera so you can see my knees a little better. Alright. So now, in addition to keeping your spine straight and your arms up for this, what I don't want to see is your knees coming together or your knees coming out. I don't even know, how do people do that? Ow. Anyway, both of those are signs of poor alignment and of muscle imbalance. If you can't get all the way down into a seat without your knees doing one of those two things, that's fine. Don't sink down any lower than you can without keeping good form. Now, another version of the squat that I'm going to show you is a single leg squat. It starts out the same way with that same stance. And this one you're going to leave your hands on your hips. You're going to shift all of your weight to one leg. And bring this leg up just a little bit, the one that doesn't have the weight on it. And again, you're going to sit down and back up. Now, this is a much harder exercise. It requires a lot more balance in addition to strength. Don't do this if you're still struggling with a basic squat. Even if you've mastered the basic squat, do not be surprised if you can't get down as far in the single leg squat as you can in a basic squat. It's a much harder move. It requires a lot more balance. It uses a lot of muscles that you're not really using very much when you've got both feet planted firmly on the ground. Now, the last squat I want to show you, the last version of the squat I want to show you, is, I think, the easiest. It's called a ball squat. You're going to require a appropriate sized exercise ball, Swiss exercise ball, whatever you want to call them. They have a million different names these days. But you're going to stand up with your handy-dandy exercise ball. You're going to put it up against a wall, or in my case, a door, and rest it right there in the small of your back. You're going to take that stance again, that nice shoulder width stance, and putting your hands either on your hips or up above like we did in the first squat. You're going to come down. Now, the reason I consider this the easiest of the squats is that the ball sort of forces you into good posture. With the exercise ball behind your back, you can't lean forward or it's going to fall out and remove itself from being between you and the wall. You have that aid in balancing, so you can lean into it to prevent you from leaning forward or from bringing your knees out over your toes. It's a really great beginner way to do a squat, and once you have that mastered, you can move on to a freestanding squat and then a single leg squat. So this has been the basics of squats with me, Willow, of Willow Fit. I hope that it was educational and informative and helpful, and I'll see you around, gym bats.